Well, good day everybody, and welcome to my channel Whisky Journey. Today I've got another single malt Scotch whisky review for you guys, and this time I'm traveling to Orkney and trying out this bottle right here. Can pretty much assume that this is from Highland Park, which is kind of confirmed by how it tastes. It's a bit of an unusual bottle though, and this is why I'm quite interested to share my thoughts with you guys. I've also got this bottle right here as well, which is a bottle I got last year from Thompson Bros for their Era 502 Bad Gateway series. Also in Orkney, another Highland Park. This one is 15 years old, and I think it's important to do a comparison because you'll see why in a bit. Why I've decided to try this one as well and compare it to this one. Okay, right, so onto this particular bottle up for review, and this is from independent bottler Cadenhead and is part of their Enigma series. 19-year-old from an Orkney distillery, Highland Park, and this is bottled at 54.7% ABV. Cask maturation, I believe since 2022 it was matured in a Fino sherry cask, and as you can see, the color difference between the two kind of confirms that. This one just a little bit darker than this one. This was a refill hogshead, I believe, and you can quite clearly see the difference, I think, between the two. Not much difference though. This is just a little bit darker, so it'll be interesting to see if we get any of those sherry type notes on this particular dram. This is the blurb that Cadenhead has on the back. So the whiskies we bottle in our Cadenhead's Enigma series are just that: unusual, hard to quantify, perhaps even slightly contradictory. They can be single casks, vattings of multiple casks, blends, blended malts, or whatever else we can find that doesn't fit into our existing bottling lineup, but meets our only essential criteria. They're that good. Okay, so so very interested to share my thoughts on this one. Distilled is from 2005, released in June of 2024, and as I said, from 2022, Fino cask matured, 288 bottles only. Okay. I actually picked this up in my local, and they had a wee tasting. And when I tasted this, I didn't know what it was, and I immediately got a bottle because I thought it tasted really, really good. But what we'll do is we'll just get onto the tasting notes and break this down a wee bit and just see what we get on this particular bottle. Okay, this review might be a little bit longer, guys, because obviously I'm doing a comparison. Okay, so onto the Highland Park 19-year-old, and on the nose, let's just see what we get first. Okay. And this is what attracted me originally to this particular bottle. It's got the nose is unusual. It's got this sort of fizziness on the nose, which reminds me of lemon sherbet or lime sherbet. It comes across as quite sweet, but you get that sort of sharpness of lime and fizziness of sherbet, definitely. Underneath that though, very, very earthy. This is, in my opinion, just a very, very earthy release. It's got loads of forest nature, earthiness. There is some peat, but it's very low in the mix initially. Time in the glass, I do find benefits this dram. It opens up quite a bit more just with a bit of time. So if you do end up getting this release, just keep that in mind. Okay. It's also got quite a funky nose, and I think that's what also attracted me to this release. It's got that sort of, it almost reminds me of Springbank in a way, that sort of funky manure, cow manure sort of smell, you know, when you go driving in the country. I've said before, I live out in a rural area, and when I'm driving through the area, I get that sort of manure sort of smell, and I get that on this. There's an element of funk, definitely. And there's also some mineral character there as well, but quite low in the mix. Definitely some stone or slate, that sort of feel. The sherry cask influence as well is there, but it's very low in the mix, quite well balanced. So definitely some raisins and dried fruit character as well. Yeah, definitely. But ultimately, it's that earthiness. Now, if you like earthy drams, this will be right up your street, in my opinion. Definitely leads the way with those earthy tones, funkiness, and mild peat. It's just a gorgeous nose, and that sherbet note I get, that fizziness, just is, I find it so intriguing and interesting, very interesting. And I can understand why this was chosen as a part of their Enigma series, because it's not apparent what this distillery is. In my opinion, straight on the nose. Initially, I couldn't tell what it was. Okay, so let's just get straight onto the palate then. So quite an intriguing nose, guys. Very interesting. Okay. Bit of spiciness on the end, black pepper, and in the finish, that's where you get the eureka moment, so to speak. That's when you can taste that this is a Highland Park. Heather, honeyed heather, heathery peat, most definitely. Absolutely beautiful. So on the palate initially, oily mouthfeel, really mouth coating. Bourbon cask influence definitely comes out, in my opinion, with some vanilla. There's hints of strawberry, earthiness, and then you get a little bit of sherry, a thin veil of sherry in the mix as well, in my opinion. In no way, shape or form overpowers the spirit at all. Just adds that thin veil of sherry with some dried fruits and raisins. And then a little bit of bitter oak, a little bit of char, in my opinion, bit of chocolate coming out. That's what it feels like, but still quite well balanced by sweeter tones. That vanilla, definitely, and then in the finish, that heather note, floral, peaty, but light. Not a heavy style peat at all, in my opinion, but it's definitely there. Hints of ginger in the background as well, and in the finish, minty. Increasingly floral, some mineral character there too, and that heathery style peat just sort of trails. It's not the longest finish in the world, but what a dram that is. That is just such an interesting dram, in my opinion. And as I said, it only reveals its true self on the finish, in my opinion, when you get all that heathery peat. And I just fell in love with this dram. As soon as I tried it, I was like, that's intriguing, that's so interesting. And kind of messes with your head a bit, because you're not sure what it is until right at the end, and then the reveal comes along. Okay, so you can play around with water with this one. I'm not going to bother though on this tasting. But all I can say is this is a great bottle, in my opinion, and a very interesting bottle from a knowledge perspective. If you get it, spend some time with it and get to know it. And I just feel it just opens, in my opinion, it's probably the best Highland Park I've had. I'm not a huge fan of Highland Park. I haven't had Highland Park in years. But this one is just such an intriguing, interesting dram that demands your attention, in my opinion. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just have a sip of water first. And we'll try this 15-year-old Highland Park from Thompson Bros. And see what differences we get. So as I said, refill hogshead on this one. Let's just see what we get on the nose on this one. Okay. So Thompson Bros. Okay, so straight away, you know it's a Highland Park. Straight away, heathery, Heathery style peat, floral, vegetable nature, vanilla, obvious vanilla influence from the barrel. Some mineral character there too, but that heathery peat, although the peat is not strong, that heather note is big on this one. You know straight away this is a Highland Park. Okay, so let's just get on to the taste. I'm not going to go through all the notes, but I'm just trying to give you a comparison between the two. This one very much in your face, you know it's a Highland Park. This one definitely more subtle initially until you taste it. Right, so let's just have a taste. Loads and loads of honey heather peat. More peat influence, in my opinion, on this bottle than on the Cadenhead's bottle. But it opens up with a nice oily mouthfeel. Loads of vanilla, definitely a vanilla influence. And then it almost goes straight into that mid-palate finish with loads and loads of floral nature, heather, as I've said already, and that peat. A bit of spiciness too, some pepper lingers in the finish. It's actually really nice finish. Perhaps a tad longer than the Cadenhead's release. That heathery peat just remains firm. Lime, definitely. A lot of lime on this one. So there are some characteristics that are similar between the two bottles. Definitely a lime influence on both of them. Perhaps more mineral character coming out. I think this is more classic Highland Park, or independent bottle Highland Park. Both are great releases and very good, really good releases. My favorite though will be this newer Cadenhead's bottle, in my opinion. This one is what I would say maybe a tad one-dimensional, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I love a straight bourbon cask influence. There's no room to hide, and as you can see, that is the case on this release. There's no room to hide. You know it's a Highland Park. This one is just a little bit more intriguing. That beautiful fizzy lemon note or lime sherbet note on the nose is intriguing and very interesting. That thin veil of sherry just adds a little bit more character and makes things just a little bit more interesting. Again, just playing with your head just a wee bit, but the sudden burst of honeyed heather and peat on the end, on the finish, just, I just love this release. It's such an interesting release, and intriguing, and in my opinion, well worth your time. Not cheap, obviously, for a 19-year-old, but very, very characterful dram and very interesting, and a great release from Cadenhead's, in my opinion. Okay, guys, so enough of my rambling as usual. That about wraps things up for this review, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, so guys, if you like and enjoy my content, and just like, comment and subscribe if you wish. It's entirely up to you, and it's always appreciated. But as usual, not much else to say, except have a fantastic day. I'll see all of you again soon. Take care. Cheers.